My name is Alexander, and I'm on a mission to find out the mystique of Britishness, while at the same time getting an American perspective on America.
Marry her. Divorce her. Confirm! Fun being at KU Theater is like being with a family. I mean, you spend 4 to 5 hours every day with the same group of people, you know, and you build connections. You know, we spend 6 days out of the week together, and then just acting. It's not necessarily like having to perform. It's just being with your friends and family, just having fun at KU because theater.
Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, I definitely enjoy being a part of the theater here.
Are there limitations to being in a production here at KU?
Not really. I mean, you know, besides what's written in the show, you know, if you're auditioning for a black role, you have to be black. You know, we do a couple colorblind stuff, but for the most part, there's no limitations to KU. You can be a major in it. You don't even have to do theater to audition and be a part of the show.
Talking about KU's policy on discrimination and gender, and obviously they have zero tolerance. What is your perspective on that? And does KU implement this?
Like
discrimination against transgender or like?
Oh yeah, like I mean, our theater group, we don't care who or what you are when it comes down to it. I mean, KU has a lot of LGBT organizations and groups, and in fact, the other day in the paper we just had a huge article on a transgender student here that's senior. I mean, KU is, we're fine with everything. Like, we have campaigns where at the beginning of the year you sign a pledge for like my friend's gay or I'm gay, and you know, this is what I do to help make their experience okay at KU. You know, like, and especially in our theater. In our theater, we don't care who or what you are. You're just another person for us. You know, your family.
Have you personally noticed any bullying, discrimination going on in KU?
No, I've not seen anything at all. That's the entire wedding summed up.
Ashley, how do you feel about Kansas and the education you're receiving here?
Well, that's a tough question, Alex. I think I mean, I can't complain too much, you know? Some people, they can't get an education at all, you know?
Do you feel like American education system to the rest of the world, where would you rate it?
I haven't been educated anywhere else.
Okay. And do you know anything about the British education system?
No, I know that you guys have different like schools and like primary and secondary or something. Blair was telling me about it. You guys don't have like elementary, middle, high school. It's called like other things. And then you don't have to go to college. You can go somewhere else. What's it called? You get out of school when you're like 16 or something crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, 16.
Yeah.
And you either go college or you go sixth form. In America,
so what's it like?
what are your views on the current politics, the state of affairs going on now in America?
It's not as easy as you would think it would be.
I really don't
A bunch of people and
watch the news enough to answer that question. I usually ignore that kind of stuff until the next election rolls around.
So you're not engaged personally with politics at the moment?
Not at all.
Complete BS answer.
I know who I like.
Really?
And I don't get
It's so embarrassing and it's so
too into
difficult.
it
It's
because I
hard
feel like
to
that would drive me crazy.
Well, I mean, it's like, it's just, I don't know why they do that. Why it's because there used to be one that had a brush like that one that you're using on the end. It's like a mascara brush. Yeah. Which that would make sense. This paintbrush that they decided to.
When I think of England, well, really two things come to mind. First is Paul Meyer, who was my vocal teacher, who taught me the British accent, which I use. And secondly, I think of Doctor Who, which is like my favourite show, because it's come from England and how much of it is actually filmed in England. But it's just a place I really want to visit. I've never been there, but I've heard so much about it and so many people have gone. It sounds like a really cool place. So yeah, England.
So on a daily basis, how often do you come to the library and work, and is there a lot of strain on your back because of this?
For being completely honest, I only go to the library when I need to print things. Yeah, so I need to find like a script, so I should probably go to the script library. I've never really been in here. I don't really come to this library a lot. Only when I need to print things.
Cool.
But other than that, I kind of feel intimidated coming in here because it's like people printing off music things and like I'm not musical.
So, are the people in the music department completely different to like they're just students, you believe?
I mean, then repeating her, yeah. I think they think we're really weird because like whenever they walk by, we're like talking to ourselves and like rehearsing.
And obviously, yeah.
Well, I mean, like they're doing things that there's like you hit the right notes at the right times, and we have like artistic flexibility. So I don't know. I've never taken a music class here, but I feel like it's very different.
And what about dance?
I don't dance very well. I should take a dance class, but like choreographed stage dancing, I'm actually really bad. So I prefer like straight plays.
Yeah.
I like to watch musicals if they're good, like over here. I want to, but it really all depends on like finances and stuff. I don't know, we'll see. I really wanted to do one in Australia.
It'd be cool if you get the chance.
Yeah.
And obviously the culture there is completely different as well.
Yeah, no, it is. I think it'd be really cool to like, because I was just talking about this the other day, like the whole like Aboriginal culture down there. They have their own set of rules and like they handle things.
It's
differently.
like the natives.
Yeah.
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 Of America.
Yeah, the Native Americans. Except for like we kind of like just like tossed them on reserves and was like, here you can have a little bit of it. And
Yeah, it's very shocking, isn't it?
yeah, we get away with a lot of things that are very morally questionable, but that's the history of America.
You've obviously met some British people here, haven't you?
Yes, of course.
So have you noticed any differences culturally or just between the people? The differences between an American and a British person?
I've really noticed a lot, other than the fact that the British people that I've met are very polite. I don't know if that everyone is polite over there, but they're really a lot more polite than everyone else I've met here. Yeah, I mean, other than that, like the only other thing that I would say like culturally different would be like, is I tend to, when I meet someone from Britain, I tend to like start speaking in a little accent to like try and connect with them. I bet it's really annoying, but it's funny, I think. I hope it's funny. I hope people don't get annoyed with him. They're like, oh, hello! I'm Ashley! Other than that, it's really just you guys are really polite, good-mannered. And then, I don't know, what is it like, or is everybody, what do you guys think when an American comes to visit over there?
When an American comes to visit, it depends. I mean, an American tourist is different from an American student, I think, and people behave differently when they're in different circumstances, so...
Yeah. Is this how you behave here that you would at home?
Yeah, I behave the same here as I behave back at home, actually. But here it's just a bit more... The culture's very different, obviously. It is very dramatically different for me being here. But the fact is that it's not... It's like, for me, I don't know if this is true, but I feel like there's a blindness that goes, that happens between... I can see the differences, but Americans can't see the differences as much.
No, I don't. That's what I'm saying, I really don't. The only thing I notice is, like, the better manners. I think I have good manners, but compared to like people that I've encountered that are from here, and then for my British exchange student friends, it's just always more pleasant. I don't think I've never really been like, okay, wow, they're kind of in a bad mood. It's been like, oh.
So another quick question I had was about Americans always seem to say European.
Yeah.
We're from Europe.
Yeah.
So do you, first of all, do you differentiate between the UK, British, Britain and the rest of Europe, like continental Europe?
Well, yeah, I mean, I usually, someone who is from like Britain or Ireland, or then I would specifically say like, oh, you know, they're Irish or oh, they're British, but anywhere else really, like someone's like from Ukraine, I would probably just say like Eastern European.
Yeah.
And if anything that's in like Western Europe would be like, I'd probably be like, oh, they're from Britain, or oh, no, they're from France. I mean, I think people in different states like to think that they're different from people than like people down in the South are like, oh, you know, we're more polite and oh, you know, we've got our customs. But I think it's really similar here, rather than if you were to say like every country in Europe has this like the same type of.
So you think there's more differences within Europe than America?
I mean, those are all separate countries, and like people can think that like the states are their own separate things, but we all follow the same rules because we're under one president. And other than that,
it's quite interesting that as well. And oh, sorry, you have to walk, don't you? I've heard that. Well, when I've been traveling around America, I don't know if this is for you, but maybe because I'm British, but the thing that strikes me the most is how no matter kind of what kind of state you're in, you always feel like you're the same place, or you've seen this place before. In the certain areas, obviously, you know, some places you're not going to get that, but most places, everything feels the same.
well, yeah.
Do you believe that as well?
Yeah, I mean, I've been certain places in the United States that I was like, okay, wow, this is really different, and not only like by like the way people act and like the culture, but also like the environment. There's not really a lot of crazy differences in like the environment. So like a lot of it's like really flat in the Midwest, and then if you go over to the West, you know, you have like the ocean and the mountains. But if you travel, because you travel through the Midwest.
Yeah, I've traveled through the Midwest. It was all the same, yeah.
Yeah. So it can get pretty boring, but other than that, if I would definitely say that New York is its own, like, don't want to say country, but it's definitely its own culture. If we were talking about like how the countries in Europe are each different, New York is definitely like one of the most different states compared to like all the rest of them. It's fabulous though, I love it.
I really want to visit. That's the place I want to visit, yeah.
Yeah, because you went down to Texas, and yeah, you went to places that I never really would want to go. Like, Texas is all right, but I mean, I would like to go to, like, because you went to California.
That's true.
California, I think I only stopped there on my way to Hawaii. Hawaii's cool, obviously. That's, like, the only different thing is because it's, like, on its own, and it's... Like,
yeah.
and that in itself would be, like, that's more of, like, the Pacific Island culture. But then when you get to, like, the United States, it's, like, it's either, like, you're, like, Republican or Democrat. There's like one or the other, like you have to like choose. But I don't know how it is over in Europe.
So with that kind of, you either have to be a Republican or a Democrat. Is that really how it is? I mean, people don't...
No, but that's how people, like, that's how I see it as, is like, because like, I mean, I'm not really either. I'm more of like a independent political party member, like Green Party. But it's like those really don't ever win, and they're not really considered. It's usually like, okay, so this person is a Democrat or this person is a Republican. Like,
yeah.
It's the president's going to be a Democrat or Republican. It's not going to be somebody else.
Do you believe that if people did change the way they voted, that maybe there will be a president who won't be a Republican or a Democrat? It'll be something else. Or do you think that would never happen?
I don't know if it'll happen in my lifetime. Yeah, I mean, it's because people are so set on their political parties, and I also don't think that a lot of people know about the other options out there. I think they just think it's like one or the other.
Yeah.
So.
More education, you believe, is needed?
I mean, I think it'd be really cool to have, I know like we're in Kansas and Kansas is a really like conservative state, but I think it'd be cool to have like presidential candidates come and do like speeches and rallies and stuff like at a college campus like this. I know Obama visited a while ago, but I don't really know what he was doing here.
Again, apparently he was meant to visit 2012 and it got cancelled because of the Boston.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think because I mean, maybe this is a new like generation. Maybe if, you know, someone from the Independent Party or if they really had a good campaign and like they reached out, they might have a shot. But I've never, like, they're just not really, I don't think people take them that seriously.
So that's confusing to people. Right? That's actually confusing.
For me, I guess like it is in the films, like big parties and fat people and people who go to the gym a lot.
People go to the gym.
I don't think I really
Big
had any
characters.
expectations.
I watched all of American Pie and Blue Mountain State before I came out.
Yeah, so
So I
expecting
know
this kind of
that,
American college culture.
A lot of big cars, frat boys everywhere.
Yeah.
Land of extremes.
Yeah. Would you say, has it lived up to this expectation? It hasn't.
Yeah.
To an
I think to an
extent.
extent, yeah.
In a good way?
Have you never seen American Pie?
Yeah, but I think a lot of the stereotypes.
They are exaggerated.
It doesn't mean that nobody.
I could be anything like.
Yeah, that is a movie. I think a lot of the stereotypes aren't perhaps true. So there's like there are fat people, but it's not like it's not as huge as it's made out to be. I think everyone's a lot friendlier than I expected.
Now, do you think this is because you're British?
Probably yes.
So this is my question here. Now, because you're British, how did you expect to be treated in America? Did you expect anything different because we are British and we're from England or Scotland?
My friend said to me before I came out that who'd already been to America. They said that like everyone's like, oh my god, you're British, and like super excited. So I was expecting some people to react like that, but everybody reacts like that. Which
I didn't expect like every single person to. Like, just people were listening to your conversations who were like, wait, sorry, where are you from?
On the bus and people say.
Now, why
The
do you know?
best is,
That's alright. I was going to say, why is that? Why do you think this is?
Because they don't travel a lot, don't they?
Yeah.
They stay in their country and they just.
What were you saying?
Oh, the best is people that think that we're faking our accents.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I've
lots
had that
of
as
people
well.
have asked, oh, are you practicing for a play or
Can I
are
see
you
your
doing
ID?
this as a joke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like on nights out, I've been ID'd by other people that I'm just talking to because they want to prove that I'm actually British and I'm not lying.
So there's this kind of specialness, that
Yeah, a little bit.
Novelty.
novelty.
Yeah.
And it's true, isn't it, what they say about all Americans like Harry Potter?
Yes,
Yes.
definitely. There's a guy in one of our classes who calls him Harry, me Hermione, and one of the other guys Ron. And he's like, can I sit with you guys today?
You should be wrong.
Well, no, because I'm not male, so.
And Mars does look a little bit like Ron, anyway, doesn't he?
Yeah, there was where I used to live on floor 7. One guy said to me once that he remembers my name because it's like Emma Watson, but it's Hermione. And I was like, well, just remember my name.
How funny. How funny. So, what's the most disappointing thing about being in America? If there is.
Disappointing?
Like, disappointing as in.
That's let me down.
Yeah, things that let you down or things you expected to be different, or just disappointing as in.
I guess I didn't expect to be so trapped in Lawrence, like because the public transport here is so bad.
Yeah.
I feel like the traffic.
You have a car with Leah. I feel like we can go months without really leaving Lawrence, and like that's not what I'm used to.
Yeah. I agree actually on that point that you brought up. What's the most impressive thing then about America?
I think about Kansas how flat it is.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's no hills anywhere. Well, apart from like Mount Oriad, which is so big, but I think just the general friendliness of people in the Midwest is really amazing compared to at home, because you just wouldn't get it there, I don't think.
So you've all travelled around the States, I've heard. Is your treatment different in other states compared to this state here in the Midwest, in Kansas? What was your treatment like in different states?
I think it's less of a state thing and more like here, because we're at a university, people are used to it. But like when we go away, we're not in a university city, and like sometimes people are just surprised.
So you just get more questioning, like, oh, you're not from these.
Yeah, and when we were in New York, people didn't really make much of a fuss because I think they get more travellers.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like less touristy here, they're not used to people coming from different places, but particularly New York was completely different to,
So America, have you witnessed any discrimination on campus or just around when you've been travelling around the States? Have you noticed any kind of discrimination?
Racial discrimination?
Racial discrimination.
Gay discrimination.
I think when we went south, we were quite shocked that they had like Confederate flags flying just like by people's houses and stuff, and they had like at the side of the road they had Confederate flag sails and stuff, which we thought was a bit different. I wasn't expecting to see that, but not otherwise, I don't think.
I feel like the communities here are more like Lawrence is pretty much like a white community, but then like when we went to Mississippi, then like the places we were driving through there were clearly like African American communities, and you don't really see people as mixed as much as you do like back in the UK.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like there's not many not white people in the classes and stuff here, especially compared to Asia.
And like people that we know that aren't students have more old-fashioned views about homosexuality and about, I don't know, and just different issues that are definitely discriminative views that they hold, but they're just deeply conservative.
Do you think this stems down to religion?
Yeah, definitely. I think religion takes a much bigger hold here than at home, I'd say.
Have you met many non-believers here, or I mean, what kind of people have you met?
It's a conversation I think we avoid quite a lot of the time because you never really know.
I think the main, like one of the couples that's kind of like taken us in as their kids asks us every week, like, do you want to go to... One of the couples that's like taken us in as a family like ask us sort of every week, do you want to go to church with them? And they took us to see the movie Son of God, and they're trying very hard to sort of introduce us. So they've got us a book about like the introduction to Christianity and stuff. So they are trying their best, but they don't push it on us.
No.
But I think they feel like if we don't believe, we're going to hell, so they want to try and help us to come around to the idea of God and whatnot. Yeah, it's interesting. Not something I'm really used to, but I don't mind.
I mean, you get a lot of people. I've had a lot of people approach me on campus asking if I'd like to join their Bible study or if I'd like to. I know Katrin she made a friend by someone asking her, "Do you love God?" Like, just as an opening statement. And I've had a lot of people trying to talk to me about religion, which is something that I get a little bit of in the UK, but not to the same extent.
No, and there were people outside Westco one day who were picketing, but just preaching about homosexuality, and then another day outside somewhere else about abortion, and it is an issue. It's clearly an issue, not in the same way it would be at home.
So cultural differences. What are the main cultural differences you've noticed here in America and back in England? And what ones didn't you expect to see, which you've seen, if any?
I think mainly at KU, like everyone is kind of like behind the same teams, like even like Lawrence or whatever, and around the areas, everyone supports KU. Everyone wears KU clothes. Everyone loves the Jayhawks. But like at my university at home, it's really rare that anyone will walk around in like a Swansea jumper or anything. So I think that I wasn't expecting the whole like really tight cultural community that is here. I think that's quite different.
Yeah, I was going to say the sports thing.
Yeah.
Like the big, like when I first saw the stadium, it was insane because we just don't have that kind of thing at all, and like people don't really care. So that was like a shocking cultural thing.
Actually, I remember you saying, Kat, you had loads of trouble. So I heard, Kat, people. So, Kat, people have been telling me that you've had loads of trouble while you were living in the towers, shopping here in America. The food has been an issue for you. I mean, why is this? What's been going on?
I think at first it was just completely different system to what I was used to, and the types of food that were being sold was different. I found it harder to get the same ingredients that I would use to cook, or they'd be more expensive here. It was just, yeah, I wasn't cooking the same things, and I couldn't really.
So do you believe like the food is limited here, kind of what they sell?
It's not limited at all. And that's one of the other weird things as well.
Very different. Though.
It's just completely different.
Yeah.
Like,
I miss so much British food, like so much, and like drinks as well. We can't get like diluted squash or anything, but particularly food. Like I can't wait to go home and have a proper British Indian takeaway because it's just, although they have Indian food here, it's so different. It tastes so and just never the same, and it's just not.
It's like Chinese food here.
Yeah.
It's so completely
like
different.
it's okay, but it's just not as good.
Yeah.
So.
I agree.
It's weird because you can't complain for lack of choice of what there is there, because the first day, like the amount of cereal I had to choose from was insane. Like hundreds of different flavours of the same type of cereal. But then there's other things where this sounds really weird, but they only had one type of pesto.
Oh yeah.
And it was really expensive. And I eat so much pesto at home, like Sainsbury's Basics pesto. And here it was like $6 and like one tiny little thing. So I don't know.
So why do we think, what is it about British people that Americans, they love so much? What is this kind of mystique that we have? What do you think it is? What does it come down to?
I don't know, they say it's just our accent and that we sound so much more proper than them. And then they say to us, like, do you hate our accents? And it's like, well, no, not at all. I don't see there's a difference, but they seem to think that our accent kind of puts us just not above them, but there's just something more proper about it. I don't know. I think that's all it is really. But so there's nothing amazing about Britain in general, and people don't really ask many questions about Britain apart from, have you been to London? But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think it's kind of like what Chris was saying, people haven't been there, so they just want to know about it really, especially with the royal family, because that's not something which they have here, so that's like new and exciting. And then like obviously there's loads of stories in Britain and TV shows and history, and so they hear so much about it, but then they've not really met anybody, so it's just kind of new and exciting.
So it's kind of like these ideas they have, and these ideas they have of British people and of Great Britain, and that's kind of what they're thinking. So when they meet someone like us, it's kind of what they expect. Do you think we let them down? Like, do you think we don't give off what they expected from us?
I think so, because especially with the whole Harry Potter thing, like I personally do not care. I could not care any less about Harry Potter. But when people are like, oh, do you love Harry Potter? And I'm like, no, I'm really sorry, I don't. And they're like, oh. So I think we don't live up to their stereotypes of us, and I don't think we're particularly maybe as cool as they expect us to be. But
I don't think people come away from meeting us disappointed.
No, but then I wouldn't come away from me. I don't think they'd go they'd be no more excited about us than they would be about an American person.
I think they have expectations, but then kind of they don't really expect us to be like that.
Yeah.
It's just like British people drink a lot of tea, love Doctor Who, and watch Harry Potter, which obviously isn't true for everyone, but.
Now, I was going to ask about, now, for me, being back in England, I feel more connected to the government, the federal government here. But now being in Kansas, I feel like I'm so disconnected from the news, from what's happening in DC. How do you feel about America and the politics? is there a disconnection between here in Kansas, the states? Do you feel like there's a disconnection between people and the state and the federal government in America?
I think people here, a lot of people don't really know like the details of politics here, less so than at home, but people are much more into what they believe. So if people are Democrats, then they're a Democrat, and people are Republican are like Republican and they're conservative, but they don't really follow what goes on in Congress and the lawmaking and stuff like that. Like I assume that most people know the name of their representative, but I'm not sure people would ever really like contact them or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel just like politics is a big deal here, but that doesn't mean that people are any more educated in it.
Yeah, I understand. And for me, I think, both parties, the Republican and Democrat, they're both so alike. And for it to be two parties and there's never a third party involved is quite disappointing for me. From Britain, I just feel like America's being let down in that kind of respect. It's quite frightening, really, I think. I don't know if you're scared about the politics here and that people don't really care.
No, I'm not. I don't feel like, but because you say they're so closely tied, they're so similar, the two parties, and a lot of it is it dictates what goes on here, and because what goes on here doesn't really matter to me too much because I'm going to be going in a few weeks. I'm not bothered. And they can get on with it, and I don't really. If they want to continue doing what they're doing, then let them. And they seem content.
I feel like you have a main basic point, but lots of the laws that they're introducing, horrible laws that go against what I feel are like basic human rights.
Yeah.
So that's when I do have a problem with the lawmaking system, is when I think certain states that are more conservative, like Kansas, when they introduce these laws which should be illegal, and that's when I feel like I do get involved, and I do get I do feel things about the politics.
Yeah.
I think as well, I did a module last term on the Congress, and there is so much corruption, and at the moment there's such a big party divide that not anything is really being done, because the Republicans are so conservative, and that's just making people go conservative, and it's stopping any kind of real democratic government from working functionally, really, with the government shutdown. So I just feel like they've got some major problems with their government that people don't always recognise here, and they just need to sort it out, really.
So going back to Happy Point, we just go down the line. Do you feel like you have a connection to America now, and will you miss it when you leave?
Yeah, definitely. Coming here, I expected to enjoy it and be an experience, but I never expected to feel so involved. And you come here and you're completely absorbed into the whole Kansas thing and the Jayhawks, and you kind of become one. But it's gonna be weird leaving it, but
yeah.
I feel like this is my home, and I do not want to go home at all in 5 weeks. But I know as soon as I get home, I'm gonna be missing here. But it's life, I guess.
I didn't, as Matt said, I didn't expect to get so involved or to almost take pride in the university, but I have done, which is a bit weird. I'm the same. I don't want to go home.
I actually want to come back and live here. So
Really?
I do. I like it that much.
What do you like about it so much?
Just everything. I don't know.
Do you want to live in Kansas or just America?
Chicago.
Yeah.
Chicago.
I would also want to live here. I've always wanted to live here, and really before I came here, but I'd still definitely consider coming back out here.
We have a different opinion on this, Chair. I won't speak for both of us, but I don't think I could live in America permanently.
Yeah.
There are too many fundamental ways of living that I don't think I could deal with. The healthcare system and lots of the politics, I just don't think I could handle it. And I feel very strongly, I like it here a lot, but I feel very strongly that England and London, or Britain and London is my home.
Yeah.
and I don't think I could ever break away from the ties that I have there.
I've enjoyed my year here and it's been a great experience and loved it and everything, but there's absolutely no way I'd ever live in America.
Yeah.
I just feel like the politics and, like Kat said, the healthcare, the education, the police, like everything is just fundamentally flawed to an extent I just wouldn't be able to live with. I get too frustrated.
I agree. I could.
Yeah.
I don't live in America.
I just love.
Even though I've loved it, but I don't want to live here.
Yeah.
I think it's just made me love Britain more and appreciate what our social structure is like, I guess, our society. Like, that's where I want to live, not here.
So out of 6 of you here, only 2 want to stay.
Yeah.
So it's really had an impact on both of you, which is so interesting. Now, actually, I remember Kat, you told me you're from London, and do you think that's one of your, when you look back and you say, oh, I can't stay here in America. London, how does it feel? How does it compare to America, and especially to Kansas?
You can't compare them. You can't possibly compare like London to Lawrence. There's no. You just got to see them as different places with different ways of living, and yeah.
So out of 10, how would you say culturally? Out of 10, how different is it?
Culturally, out of 10.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very different, but I've been really pleasantly surprised by Lawrence.
Yeah.
And lots of the things that go on here and the events I've been to and stuff, which have been really, really interesting, and not, yeah.
So Lawrence being very liberal, kind of little blue kind of dot here in Kansas has been quite nice for us, kind of thing.
Yeah, I have a friend who's studying abroad in Arkansas, and she is had a lot of trouble there with the more conservative views that they have and pushing religion much more. And she is bisexual, and a lot of people there have a problem with that, and she's just found it very difficult. So I'm really glad that we're here in Lawrence, where a lot of people do have the same views and are just much more accepting of strangers and things that they don't know about.
And my last kind of question is, the education you're receiving here in America, how different is it compared to the British education back in England, or back in wherever your universities are in the UK?
Yeah, it's insanely different. Like the fact that I was talking to someone the other day who's obviously they do like prerequisites, whatever, and I haven't learned maths since I was like 16. So to hear people that they're still having to do math when they want to major in history or something, I find that quite shocking, because like I chose history and that's what I study and that's all I study. So I think they get a maybe much broader, wider education as they get older, whereas we just go down one track. But I would much prefer to do it the way we do it, because like, I'm not good at maths, I'm not good at science, and that's why I chose history. So for me to have to be made to do like the prerequisites just wouldn't be for me, I don't think.
Is it harder or easier, would you say, back here or in England? Or
I think it's easier to get better grades here, because you get given extra credit for showing up, for attendance, and for, I don't know, like they do silly tasks in class, like if you answer this question, I'll give you an extra 10 credits, whatever. So it's like, I think things are marked a lot easier here. I've got a lot better grades here than I have at home, but I don't think I've necessarily worked that much harder here. So I'm not really sure how it translates, but
I'd say that the level is higher in the UK.
Yeah.
But the workload is higher over here.
I agree, actually.
Definitely.
It's a lot more like a school system.
Yeah.
Like in the sense that I have homework.
Yeah.
And stuff to do for every class.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting in kind of classrooms, and it feels a lot more like school. Whereas, yeah, it feels very different.
So back in England, more lectures and seminars.
Yeah.
Then actual classes with
And
desks and
like
stuff.
maybe like a paper due every month or something, rather than daily homework that you actually expected to have done. Which like at home you might get set like readings and stuff, but it's very rarely that they actually check on whether you've done them or not. It's just for your own benefit. But
I think the idea that in England you're at university, or no, I keep saying England, in Britain, like, or at least at Exeter where I go, the assumption is you're there for your own benefit. You're there to learn for yourself, to get a degree for yourself, and the amount of work you do or don't do is up to you, and that will define what kind of degree you come out with. Whereas here it's like, you need to do all this, and they'll be pushing you to do every single thing, and I think that's like different.
But one thing, marking things on a curve when the whole class does bad, so like the teacher raises everybody's grades. I'm like, what?
They do that at home though.
Do they?
Yeah, to an extent.
I don't
GCSEs
think so.
and
Like, if
stuff.
people fail their essays, the teacher would not bump their essays up based on the highest essay.
We get it on exams.
We don't.
Like,
I've
they
never
have to
heard
have
of that.
A certain number have to get first, I think.
I've never
It's not
heard
like
of that.
they won't do it ridiculously, but they will nudge it.
Yeah.
Marks.
No, I've never heard of that.
Before I came out here, then the study abroad office told us that in the USA their students are spoon-fed, and I was like, oh no, it's surely the work's going to be as hard, but no, they really are. Like, you do real small bits of homework so that you learn the syllabus, and like it's kind of just what you do, and then everything's catered, and there's no real like when you go to university in the UK, you gain a lot of independence. You feel like you've grown up a lot, and I just feel like here that's not as big a deal. People here are still, even people who are the same age as us, seem younger. Because they don't have as much responsibility.
And there's, I was going to say, there's, well,
Well, I think that's also because they're so financially reliant on their parents as well still. Because we get government loans, you can live independently of your parents at university. Whereas here, most people need their parents to pay for them to go and to live, and that just adds into that culture.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I mean, this business in the dorms where you've got residential assistants, it doesn't exist in England. There's kind of less trust here in America. I mean, how did you come to terms with this RA business?
I don't particularly like it.
Yeah.
Adds to the price, you know, they're always watching you, you can't do your own thing. It's like,
I think most of
treating
them,
you like kids.
Yeah.
I think most of them have become more friends to a lot of people, but like the fact they have to like patrol the building twice an evening to see if anything's going on, and like noise complaints and stuff. It's like, you know, we live totally independently at home, so to have anyone watching over us is just weird.
You just get put in a flat and get told to spend
Yeah,
yourselves
left
at home.
alone.
Try not to die.
Not to
Oh, we
mention
managed to
that
do that as well.
here is a dry campus, so there's no alcohol allowed on campus, which just seems really restrictive, because if you're over 21, you should be allowed to drink. Like, it's the federal law. That just seems kind of silly, really. They're not trusting you to have your own alcohol and limit yourself.
And this kind of relates back to, there's actually, you know, back in my university in Kent, I'm sure it's the same at yours. At the end of classes, you'll probably stay on campus, go, you know, hang around with friends and stuff. But here, after classes, campus just becomes like a no man's land.
Yeah.
How do you cope with this? Or is this? Do you believe that what I'm saying is true?
Yeah, I think so. But then I guess like the only places to really hang out are like the union or like outside. So when it gets dark, no one really wants to hang out outside, and the union closes. Whereas we would go to our unions to have a drink, and hang out, and it's just not available here. So
I feel like here the residence halls do encourage more social interaction.
Yeah.
Especially because where I lived in the University of Essex first year, we didn't even have a living room. We just had a kitchen and bedrooms. So like we did meet people from other flats, but it wasn't quite as encouraged. There wasn't like a social area really for everyone to meet.
The fact that it's so encouraged here almost feels forced. I mean, we made friends happily very well in that environment in the first 2 years because we were able to fend for ourselves. But here we're kind of made to, and
like the roommates.
The roommates. I don't think the system's good.
I think the roommate system's good, but I think encouragement to meet people is good.
Yeah.
Like the events they set up, I think you can't doubt those because you need to meet people, and they're just helping you meet people. They're not saying you have to go to those events and meet people.
And I think they need them in a way because they don't have the drinking culture. Like that's how most people meet people in the first week of university in the UK. It's by getting together and drinking a lot. Whereas here, you don't. They have to do things to get people to socialise in that way, just without alcohol. I think a lot of the events would be improved without alcohol.
Yeah, the McCollum parties, particularly.
Dancing without alcohol is a weird thing to see, especially here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been amazing
No worries.
speaking to all of you.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.